It's time for Talking Pictures Trivia! A quick friendly reminder, a change in temperature can be expressed as a ratio of pressure and volume.
Welcome to Talking Pictures Trivia, the podcast in which a group of geographically challenged friends explore movies through trivia as an excuse to keep their friendships alive. I'm one of these friends and today's host, Nick, and with me is...
Tom.
And KJ.
Great to have you back as always. Additionally, joining us as a guest for this week is...
James.
Thanks for joining us, James. James and Tom are brothers. James was our first guest on Talking Pictures Trivia for our Mad Max Fury Road episode. James conveniently continues to like movies. For those joining us for the first time, we start off each episode with a movie quiz, as these pivotal questions will determine who earns today's trivia crown. Then, once the fierce competition is over, we followed up with our famous movie rant, where anything goes. KJ, tell us about today's movie.
Today we are going back to 1994. Nelson Mandela has become president of South Africa. The Buffalo Bills lose another Super Bowl. Stephen King releases his book Insomnia. Seinfeld, it's in its 5th season, and a little-known movie, Bill's Folly, is released. Directed by Carl Perez, who is mostly known for made-for-TV movies, including Jumpers, 8 Elephants, and Abraham Jr. Bill's Folly's short run in theaters would have been with Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Blank Check, 8 Seconds, and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Tom will be quizzing us today. Tom, what's Bill's Folly all about?
In Bill's Folly, we're given the story about a man, and this narrative appears to be about his life, a simple and sober story, but one that expands into something greater and possibly even deeper. Bill's folly, or really follies, as it were, we learn, are follies in the sense we all understand the word, but they also act collectively as a spiraling metaphor that connects character, circumstance, and conflict. As the follies continue, building in dramatic effect and driving towards the explosive, but also rather sober denouement, we can't help but agree with one of Billy's most quotable, if a bit clumsy, lines. Quote, "Life, it is that which between the beats of the heart and the pulse of the mind may or may not be exciting depending on the energy one brings to various circumstances." End quote. Nick, if you had one word to describe Bill's Folly, what would it be?
Daft. KJ?
Deliberate. James?
Unpredictable.
And my word would be humaspec.
It's time for Question 1.
What does Bill hallucinate after he eats the concentrated burrito at Taco Bell?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
All right, KJ, you're locked in last. You got to go first. What do you got?
So I didn't realize he was hallucinating at first because it starts kind of subtly, and then obviously it grows quite a bit. But there were the rainbows, right? There was the rainbows that were connecting everything, and then I want to say his past. I know it wasn't his past, but he was kind of hallucinating his past, and I don't even know how to describe. It wasn't a fisheye lens, but it was like an object that just warped. It just kind of warped everything together. So I'm going with the rainbows, his past, and that warping thing.
Okay, thank you, KJ. Rainbows past and warping thing. Very good. All right, James, I think you locked in next.
Yeah. Oh, well, one thing I would add to that, I think the figure that spoke to him was supposed to be his father. Now, I may have missed that if they specified that at some point later in the movie. That's the way that I read the scene. That shape that was speaking to him was supposed to be his dad.
Okay, thanks. And Nick, what do you have?
So there may have been a rainbow, but I'm pretty sure that scene where he was windsurfing with a chihuahua, I'm pretty sure that was a hallucination. I mean, they went in and out of different realities, so I wasn't quite sure, but that might be the one you're referring to.
All right, thank you, Nick. And the points go to KJ. And it seems like, Nick, I think you're thinking of the hallucination scene like a little later on. Like he goes swimming, he almost drowns, and he kind of has like, I don't know if it's a hallucination or a dream, but something like that. And James, I don't think it's his father talking, or at least we don't get confirmation that it is. So the best answer then, since we don't have confirmation that it's his father, is what you said, KJ.
Yeah, his past, right? Because that could have been his father. It certainly was a fatherly figure, but I don't know if it was literally Bill's father.
Yeah. So it's a weird way to open the movie. And I think it speaks to a lot of really what I find interesting about this movie. I don't know if I love it, but I certainly find it interesting. And I want to know what you guys think about those kind of hallucinogenic scenes that go throughout the movie. I mean, Nick, you brought up the windsurfing with the Chihuahua, which was a profoundly sad scene, I thought. But I was wondering what you guys, thought of those moments.
I believe you are right. I was thinking a little later in the film, and for some reason, I wanted it to be a happy moment. But you're absolutely right. Like, how could that setup not bring joy? And they did this over and over throughout the whole film. So it seemed to be part of the dynamic here. Things that were supposed to be happy weren't, and things that I thought might have been sad were actually somehow turned into joyous occasions. It was quite the phenomenon.
It reminded me a lot of Memories of Motzko in that way, because the framing of when we weren't in the hallucinations, right? That was kind of like the now, and then we cut to these hallucinations where sometimes it got a little crazy, similar to the music numbers in Memories of Motzko, and then the same thing, like the happy was sad, the sad was happy. That whenever we got what he was really thinking or feeling, it always seemed opposite of what was going on the screen.
At first, right, really the first couple of them, and even the first three, I would say, I had a little bit of trouble with them because I was having trouble trying to identify, all right, what's the common thread? What is this kind of peek into his subconsciousness trying to get at? But then, of course, later on, I'm sure you guys could speak to this too. As soon as you realize the common thread among them, the common theme among them, then it kind of starts snapping together for you. And then, as soon as you're more on board with it, you start to realize, right, okay, I see the thread and where they're going with this. I see the commonality.
But you really have to be along for the ride and just hope that this movie is going to bring you to that resolution. And fortunately, it does.
Oh, yeah,
but
no
that's
doubt.
quite a leap of faith we have to take as the audience.
I agree, Nick, and it's like it does take a while to put that together. And you're right, James. And it's pretty deliberate once you've seen the entire movie, what the hallucination scenes are doing.
Right.
But I mean, they seem like you guys were saying, like the happy is sad, the sad is happy. Like it's completely contrary. The scenes themselves sort of seem like really artsy at first for no reason. Like you were saying, the windsurfing with the Chihuahua scene, the monkey playing the bagpipes was like, I don't know, that was like the fifth hallucination scene. I was kind of like, what the hell is this? I was kind of done with the movie almost by that point. But I mean, if you stay with it, the monkey and the bagpipes really make a lot of sense.
It was kind of disturbing in the moment, though, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was.
It's Lynchian almost.
It was. Do you think that was computer animated? It was like right on the line. It was strange looking, but yeah.
It's 1994. Right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. What do you? Because I couldn't tell if it was because the first thing I thought was computer animated, but it's like a small movie. It's 94. I mean, it might have been stop motion. It's a weird look.
The song he was playing was Cabaret. I don't know how into bagpiping, but yeah,
I don't.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not, and it sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was there a catalyst for each of the hallucinations? We had the burrito, we had the borderline drowning, although that was ridiculous. But I'm trying to remember, did each hallucination start with a reason? Was there always something?
I think the second one starts after he's on that mountain and like screaming on the top of his lungs for about 5 minutes straight.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, he was just screaming and screaming and screaming. And then after that, we had one of the hallucinations. It wasn't what else hallucination was it? I don't remember, but I think so. I think there was just like either like an alteration in consciousness, like you like almost drowning, right? Or the burrito thing, or it was like a moment of like a big pain or a big emotion, like when he got kicked by the horse in like the third part of the movie, or like the second hour of the movie.
That reminded me of Home Alone.
Mm.
Like you felt that
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
sound. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then were the follies, were the mistakes, did they have any relationship to the hallucinations? It felt like the mistakes were a separate thing from the hallucinations. Like it was a separate plot almost entirely.
It certainly felt like a different plot, but you start to wonder, you know, can you kind of tie them together in the sense that a lot of the mistakes were made in sort of an effort to escape his reality, right? So even though, it's not something that directly gives rise to the hallucinations, you do sort of get the sense of, this is a character who's looking to get away. He doesn't like the reality he's in. A lot of the errors kind of arise from that dissatisfaction. You can sort of draw a parallel between, somebody who's hallucinating a different kind of reality as a result of that.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I picked my word, grief bacon. He was in such pain for a lot of the movie, and you could see him like kind of eating and trying to get away from that via food consumption or through these kind of hallucinations. I think you're right, James. It's really about escape in various ways.
Is that what Hummerspec means, or
Yeah,
that's what?
yeah. Hummerspec means grief bacon. It's a German word for it's yeah.
I thought
It's
the
a-
mic just cut out or something. I didn't
No,
realize
no.
that's what you
Yeah,
intended to say.
Hummerspec means grief bacon. It's like a German word for eating to deal with your emotional problems.
See, it's
Wow.
funny you should bring up food. I actually thought a lot of the hallucinations were food derived. So it happened after the burrito. And even on the top of the mountain, before he started that whole yelling thing, he put a piece of big red in his mouth, chewing gum. So anytime these happen, a lot of times they were close to an eating type event, but I couldn't quite see it go through, but I thought that's where they were going.
Yeah, I think eating is just, I think like James, you were saying, escapism is a part of it, and I think like the food is a part of the escapism. I think it's a method of like uh, uh not uncomfortably, what I'm talking about, improperly dealing with these problems, these follies.
Yeah, they did. And it was subtle. And I think that's, if the movie
Mhm,
really does
mhm.
have one strength, it's that sense of subtlety is, it's not going to do the work for you. It's not going to, no pun intended, but force it down your throat. We see this is a guy who's trying to escape his reality by eating. But yeah, now that I think of it, I hadn't noticed that common thread, but did he eat before the beach scene hallucination?
Well, I don't know. We didn't see him eat, but part of what they kind of suggested were there was cramps, is why he went down initially into the water.
Yeah. All right.
I was going to say there might have been an empty Slurpee container next to him during that. They didn't show you drinking it, but I don't know if it's connected. It could have just been
Yeah.
garbage.
But
don't know.
you do remember the Chihuahua was eating in the dream.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, exactly. The Chihuahua was eating vanilla ice cream.
Right on the windsurfer. Yep.
Yeah, on that wind.
So he's visualizing his pain through the Chihuahua? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I mean, also sometimes dreams can just be zany.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's a crazy thing.
It's time for question 2.
What is the secret ingredient Mama Ramsay puts in the brand muffins she serves to the hamsters?
Locked in.
Okay, yeah, locked in.
I didn't realize they were hamsters, but I'm going to lock in.
What did you think they were?
I thought they were guinea pigs.
Oh, maybe they're guinea pigs. I don't know enough about these rodents. I just put hamsters. I didn't really look it up. But anyway, Nick, you locked in last, so you go first.
It's actually very fitting to your funky word that you chose, but bacon grease. After she made her breakfast, she would use the extra bacon grease, I thought, to help make those muffins.
Okay, bacon grease. James, what do you have?
All right, it's bacon grease. Now she put a pinch, it looked like, of something else into it. after. Now, I took that to be bacon grease too, what she poured out of the pan. I don't know, what else you would fry in a pan that would produce grease like that. But she put the pinch of something else in. It looked like it may have even been some kind of cleaning fluid or something you shouldn't be ingesting, because it looked like she had gotten it from under the sink, but it was kind of a nondescript bottle.
Okay. Nondescript bottle from under the sink with bacon grease. And KJ, you sounded very confident. What do you have?
That is not what I remember at all. I thought it was just Cheerios. I thought she mixed Cheerios in with the ingredients, with the dry ingredients.
And the points go to KJ. It was so she normally we see her making putting in the bacon grease, right? She's putting the bacon grease together, and she does put that kind of, I think it's arsenic, like a little bit of poison in there.
Oh, okay.
But it gets dumped out, and all that's left are the Cheerio bits. That's why I picked this question. It gets dumped out, yeah. But you don't see it until like the next scene, when you realize that like the liquid is in the garbage, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a bit confused. I will say the movie's kind of clumsy in the way it unveils plot.
Yeah.
Because it was I think, what was it, Mama Ramsey's daughter who kind of makes sure that the hamsters or guinea pigs remain safe, hence not eat whatever, like the arsenic under the sink stuff.
Yeah, I had wondered why they were alive in
yeah.
So wait, did the daughter off screen prevent this from happening, or did Mama Ramsey come to a realization that she actually didn't want to harm them? That's the part
I think they indicate that the daughter did it, because Mama Ramsey doesn't seem pleased that the hamsters, guinea pigs are still alive.
Well, yeah, you don't see whose hand it is dumping it out.
You don't see it at all.
Yeah, it's
you
off
just
screen.
see it in the garbage. Yeah.
But she's doing other things that suggest that she's making things better for her mom. This is the daughter's played by Anna Sparicio. I forget her character name now.
Oh, it's Claire.
Claire, she's doing other things throughout the whole movie, particularly with her mom, Mama Ramsey, where she's kind of fixing things so that things are better. I'm trying to think of another example. Another one with Mama Ramsey, right? Mama Ramsey's always trying to like fold those napkins, but they're used, right? They were kind of gross and
yeah, she's not washing them.
Right.
Yeah,
That's just
yeah. And so the daughter kind of takes to wash them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, but that's her grandmother, right? Because she's really old.
Was it? I thought it was the mother. I thought it.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was the mother. I mean, I get your point. She's freaking old.
Maybe that was just a casting situation.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It could have been. They could have screwed that.
Yeah, and I suppose they try to make her mannerisms, her paranoia or whatever it is, a little bit more realistic.
Maybe it's what KJ was saying too. I got that like Depression era vibe from her too.
Yeah,
right. With the reuse of the tea bag too, right? She always grabs.
I think it's the same tea bag the whole movie, isn't it?
She's
like I swear that tea bag just keeps going from one cup of tea to another.
Yeah, it's really gross. Yeah. Oh Lord. But she is, I think, trying to protect her mom, because if those hamsters get poisoned or get killed, like they are done for, right? I mean, those things, are we're led to believe they are quite dangerous, right? Because I mean, clearly they're like really intelligent. But I think the indication, they don't say this directly, but the indication is like they are dangerous and they will hurt you if you go after them.
Yeah, and I took that from the music. Which was pretty much every time they showed them. And it was good time. Maybe a little over the top, maybe a little on the nose, but it certainly got the point across.
Yeah, it had like that Halloween vibe. Like every time.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite follies of Bill, when he leaves the cage open. And it was the middle of the night, right? And he was down, and there was still some muffins, I guess, and he decided to feed them, and then he forgot to close the cage. It was almost like a gremlin scene with the.
I thought we were going to enter a horror movie here. I really thought like it was going to go in a different direction at that point.
And it's I mean one of the reasons I also brought this question up is him leaving the cage open and then Claire having to swing in and save the day. That's kind of their meet cute, because if she doesn't prevent the hamsters from being poisoned and enacting their revenge upon her family, right, then she has no reason to kind of talk to him about what happened or who these hamsters really are, or guinea pigs, whatever whatever species it is. All right, and at the end of round one, KJ is in the lead with 2, and wagon wheels for both Nick and our guest James. We'll see what happens in round 2. See you then. Oh no, your chair broke.
Are you sitting right now? How does it feel?
Are you tired of your chair shattering into 1,000 splinters every time you sit down?
When was the last time you put a new cushion on your chair?
Is your house only filled with stools?
Do you remember your favorite chair?
Do you weigh in excess of 500 pounds, but still want a boogie?
Are you tired of everything you sit on disintegrating into dust under your considerable weight?
3-leg, 4-leg, 5-leg, 6-leg? We have support for you. Chair support. We'll hold you up. Order now and receive a free ottoman support for those ankles.
And we're back. James, we're at that critical point of our episode where we ask the guests a key question. And that question is, if you could watch Bill's Folly with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Andrew Lloyd Webber. The reason why I would love to see what someone so prolific in the Broadway community thought of the musical number at the end.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Do you think he'd like it? The song wasn't. The number was great, the dancing and the visuals, but the actual song.
No, I guess maybe that's kind of what reminded me of him. It almost was kind of like it was. You know what it was? It was like a knockoff version of his worst stuff. It was like take the worst song from like Cats, right? And then think like, all right, what if I went a little worse than that? Like what level are we dealing with? Right? Not laughably bad, but like a knockoff of the worst, basically.
Yeah, but they also played it straight, so they weren't like in on the joke.
Yeah.
Oh, not at all. No.
I think the two Carls wrote that song together. The director Carl Perez and the Bill Carl Trottler.
Yeah.
Really?
You mean Carl Chalter?
Yeah, they're credited. I don't know if it was like lyrics. They don't say whose lyrics, whose music. But yeah, no. What?
Maybe that was
probably
a
a bad
folly
sign.
in itself.
It's time for question 3.
What fluid does Bill put in his car?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
All right, James, you locked in last, so you got to go first.
Okay. So it looked like the side of the can that he was pouring into the funnel said Dr. Pepper, but of course it was, the movies don't have the the right to the Dr. Pepper brand. So they did that thing that movies do where they make a can that looks like it's the Dr. Pepper logo, but I'm sure you look at it carefully, it doesn't actually say that. But, I took what they were getting, the point to be is Dr. Pepper.
So, bit of a trick question, Tom. There's 2 scenes where he's, filling up strong word, but putting something in his gas tank there. There was I think it was Dr. Popper, James.
Was it? Yeah,
it was Dr. Popper. And then the other one was whipped cream, which I don't know what would happen. They cut away, right? We didn't actually see him drive the car, but the other one was, it was, like the Ready Whip, like whipped cream.
I thought the whipped cream was in one of his hallucinations, but the Dr. Popper, while it was the container, I thought he was really progressive. I thought that was like a vegetable oil-based fuel. I thought that was just the container he was kind of filling it up in. I didn't think that was actually soda, because I don't even know how that would work. And I think they were trying to say it was a viable alternative, fuel source. So even though it was a Dr. Popper container, I thought it was vegetable oil based.
Okay, thank you. And the points go to James. It actually was Dr. Popper. Yeah, and the whipped cream, KJ, he was trying to put that. It wasn't in a hallucination, Nick. He was trying to put that into the cop's car. Not the cop car, but the car that the cop
Oh,
owns.
right, right, right.
Yeah, had to put him. And it was like he wanted, it wasn't vegetable oil. So the reason why do you remember why he puts Dr. Popper in there?
No.
I thought it was
It's
just another one of his follies. I thought that was just another one of his.
I mean, it is one of his follies, but do you
Did he
remember
do
what
it
his?
by accident, thinking he was putting it in?
No. What was? Do you remember his justification? His friend Polo tells him that there are cow tears in every bottle of Dr. Popper, and so he thinks that's like good luck or something like that. That it's like a traditional good luck thing, and that's why it's his folly.
Why would he believe anything Polo says? That guy leads him astray
Mm.
throughout the whole film. I think this probably should have been called Polo's Follies, not Bill's Follies, because Polo's behind a lot of these.
Oh, well,
He's an
yeah, but that's,
instigator.
yeah, but you almost kind of see like, and it's played so well that you almost feel like you would believe it yourself. Like when Paul looks him in the eye and says, "Cow tears for the extra mile." I think that was the line. Like I love that, to the point where I would almost, yeah, I would almost try that in my own car. It was convincing enough.
Yeah, and it's a shame what happens to his car after that. But you're right. So I was kind of interested in and brought up this question because of what you were saying, James, of Polo and like his effect on the characters. And I was wondering what you thought of kind of Bill's admittedly small but interesting social circle.
Well, I mean, I think Polo was probably the most colorful. I did like I loved his conviction, his just ability to just be so certain of it that no matter how insane it was, you understood why somebody would believe him. Um, as far as Fletch, I liked Fletch. I think he was a good character. He was really kind of more of a follower. He reminded me a little bit of, I don't know, maybe like Donnie in The Big Lebowski, kind of like
Mhm.
a Steve Buscemi kind of stock character where, he's funny, but he's mostly kind of reacting, um,
Mhm.
to the things that other people say. Um, and I guess last but not least, Millicent was a good comic relief.
Mhm.
Um, I liked her, kind of, blunt spokenness. Um, and look, I don't know if you can make a lot of those jokes, you know, today per se, say a lot of those lines today, but it was still, it was well acted enough. She was a good enough character.
Yeah, she really hates a lot of people though.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah, she sure does.
they kept that joke going through the whole
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, they did.
Yeah. it was pretty fun.
I
Yeah,
think
and
James hit the nail on the head by calling Polo colorful because this guy is addicted to spray tans. I mean, he is another color. Like I have no idea like how a human could become that shade of, I guess, I don't know, burnt orange, I'll call it. I'm not quite sure, but I wouldn't trust that guy. But it was kind of funny too, because it just made him kind of glow. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he had that effect on people. I don't know.
It was real tough when the scene with him and Claire just completely dresses him down and calls him out for all the stuff he's been doing. Right? I mean, we kind of like Polo, even though whatever, but
yeah,
Got some charm. He's got some,
Yeah.
charisma, but
yeah,
he's well-meaning.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, his pickup lines, especially with Claire, are like really rough. Mhm.
Yeah.
they did not land.
No, no. I mean, what is his girlfriend who he breaks up with at the beginning of the movie?
Did they even name her?
I don't know if do they name
It
her?
was quick.
Yeah, it was really quick.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't, maybe she's not named. But man, that was a brutal scene. I mean, she's
Well,
just,
that's right, because she storms out.
yeah,
So
well,
I don't think we catch her that long.
no, but I mean, she like screams on the top of her lungs for like 5 minutes straight. It was really, really irritating.
Well, I mean, I think when she realizes, when kind of the ceiling caves in on his scheme, when she realized that this is just another one of his get rich schemes, that he says this is going to change everything, this is going to put us on the map, and she's kind of believed that and been led along by him for so long that when she finally sees things for what they are and comes to terms with this is just another insane one of his get rich schemes, then I think she sees it for what it is.
Mhm.
But it's a sad scene. It's brutal because he really believes this. Like Polo really believes this is going to be the one that works.
We haven't talked about this yet. I don't know if we'll have time, but the death of that, like you were saying, James, the kind of Steve Buscemi like character from Donnie
Fletch.
type.
Fletch,
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you, Fletch. Yeah,
Fletch.
yeah. Like his death scene was. I don't think I've seen a death scene quite like that. Right? What did you guys think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I felt it. I felt really sad for Fletch because he seemed like a troubled soul throughout this whole film. Very soft spoken, but he was just there, and it was almost like rotting away, even when he's just standing there. So that shouldn't have happened to him. I mean, I was hoping for some kind of turn for the best for him, and it did not go that way.
No, because you watch it and you're like, you really think that when they pull the crane off him, he's going to be alive, right? Like, oh, it didn't crush him. Like, I don't know, he somehow survives this. And they almost kind of set you up for that. But when he's very much not, that was really, that was kind of a shot in the heart.
The other thing about Fletch, right before the crane scene, they had another missed opportunity for another closet scene like Broken Blossoms, right? He was just outside that closet. There was who was that? Was it Milson? I guess Milson was like not attacking him, but again, she was.
But she was doing her thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, she's banging on the porta potty door, and he did the.
Yep. He could have done
Mhm.
right, exactly.
He did
But
the
he only
closet
did like
scene, yeah.
a 180. He
Right,
kept going
right.
back and forth
He
like
could have
180.
done- yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we're
Give it a good
referencing, just
spin.
for our audience, we're referencing the closet scene that Lillian Gish did in Broken Blossoms, where she's being threatened by her father and turns around. It seems like this movie is directly quoting that, but in a porta potty with a small man who looks like Steve Buscemi and a kind of somewhat butch racist woman. And then a crane falls on him, as you were saying, James. And it's an interesting quote or allusion to this kind of classic film that's going on, and then just a crane falls on it.
You would have thought that the porta potty would have broken the fall, but no. I mean, that thing was
it's
made of nothing.
right
It just
through it,
shattered
right
and
through it.
filth
I mean,
everywhere. Oh,
yeah, it's
it
a
was
freaking
just,
crane. Yeah.
Yeah.
gross.
But it seems like they must have blown the entire budget for that movie on that one scene.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. I mean, it really
Yeah, but
we're
it
talking
really
about
didn't
escape.
add much to the overall plot. It's just kind of random. But...
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, it's a nice kind of sobering moment, right? I mean, the death of Donnie in Big Lebowski doesn't, I guess, add to the plot, but it's sort of,
I think the only reason they did it was so that Bill could only be influenced by Polo, because he was the one really in his ear. Before, Fletch, he wouldn't say much, but his looks would kind of give him a second thought on what Polo was telling. But now, there's no guard. It's just whatever Polo's saying.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
suppose,
Filtered.
I suppose then, maybe it works into the plot as being the impetus for that had to be the fourth or fifth Folly
Mhm.
after Fletch's death.
I
After,
lost count.
after-
I lost count.
after Polo
Yeah,
really
you
didn't
kinda
have
do.
somebody to temper his influence on Bill anymore.
Well, even Fletch's death, right? Bill was talking to the crane operator. So I think that was supposed to be another one of his follies was, right? I mean, they were gone by that point. They weren't there anymore, but
Yeah,
presumably the crane operator didn't leave the crane bolted to the ground. I don't know how they anchor it, but
Yeah. And it does give the impetus for like Claire to have a place in Bill's social circle after that, right? Because Claire is much more in. I mean, we cut to her, but a lot before that. But after that, we see the two of them together more. I mean, the meet cute thing with the hamster guinea pig things is before that, but it's like really after that they start to be in the same place a lot.
I didn't want to go into it too early because I didn't know where the questions were going to go, but she's really the only source of goodness in this film. Like, she is the embodiment of what someone should be, and the rest of them are quite flawed.
Yeah, I mean, Bill's nice. Like, you like Bill.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But he's
influenceable.
Is that a word?
Yeah. Yeah, and he also has a lot of follies. And it's kind of like you feel bad for him because he can't help inspiring follies wherever he goes. He's kind of a folly machine. But it's also, you could see it's like he's also kind of at fault for it as well.
But they start to decrease in frequency once Claire gets into the picture. So it was they still came, but a little less often.
So going into the last question, right now KJ's at 2, James is 2, and Nick has a wagon wheel. So last question.
It's time for question 4.
What phobia does Claire have? And you don't have to say like the technical name of it. You could just say what she's afraid of. You don't have to remember like the word.
Yeah.
I think I got this one locked in.
Yeah, I'll lock in.
Locked in?
Okay, KJ. Go for it.
I have no idea. I don't remember this at all. Was it like hangnails or something? I don't know.
Okay. James, what do you have?
I thought it was that her parachute wasn't going to open. Right? Because she doesn't, I know she doesn't say that explicitly, but, before all the jumps, you see, I think she's had it more than once, kind of that vision of, the chute malfunctioning.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it has before.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Nick, what do you have?
So it's a little subtle, but I'm pretty sure that she has Colorophobia, which is the fear of clowns. And the reason I bring this up is she seems to be a pretty, I don't want to say perfect person, but a very kind, warm-hearted person. But in Mama Ramsey's house, she's got this one picture of this happy clown with balloons. And every time she walks by to grab some tea or feed I think they were guinea pig, she would always turn it over. She would always turn over this picture of the clown. She would never leave it up. So I think that was the only thing that she may have feared.
And the points go to Nick. Well done, sir. Yeah. It was, I mean, I almost kind of want to give you 1 point, James, for the parachute thing. But it just,
we're all tied. It's more fun this way.
Oh yeah, we are. All tied. Yeah.
No, I see where Nick is going with that because it's the parachute thing. Yeah, that was a premonition. It was something she was worried about. I don't know if I would describe it as a phobia.
Yeah, it's not like an irrational fear. I mean, that's why she doesn't have any legs, is because the parachute initially didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but yeah, so there was that where she's like turning over the picture. I think it's like a placemat, right? Like a dinner, like a thing you would eat dinner.
There was a few references to clowns. One was actually like a picture, like in a frame that she would turn over. There was a mat. There was a few elements of clown presence in Mama Ramsey's house.
My favorite one was the mouse pad.
but then the mouse didn't work on the other side.
Right.
Yeah. She turns it over and it's then has to flip it back over like I love that scene. And she really Anna Sparizio added a lot to that. I'm not. I saw the only other thing I've seen her in was Ghost of Tacoma, which came out a couple years after. But as an aside, she really is a phenomenal actress.
She should have got more work. She was very
Yeah.
good in this
Yeah,
film.
I
I
think
thought this would have been a launching point for her, but she didn't catch steam. I don't know what it
No.
was.
after Ghost, I think I looked her up because I agree. After Ghost, she retired. I think she did the whole
Oh, did she?
Oh.
Yeah. I
marriage,
noticed that.
kids thing.
Family,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because she has like what 3 or 4 credits or 3 or 4 features in her
Yeah.
She
credits.
could have went somewhere. I really think so.
Yeah, but
Was she in Carl's other movies? Carl Perez's?
Perez.
Is it Perez?
I think it's
I've been saying
Perez.
Perez the whole. Oh,
Yeah, I
alright.
think it's Perez.
And Perez, was she in Carl Perez's other movies?
Oh,
Wait, hold on.
what
a
else did he
second.
make? Oh, actually, I'm not sure because he didn't make Ghost, right, James?
No. He Ghost of Tacoma was. I'm trying to remember who that wasn't him.
Yeah.
Was she in Eight Elephants?
Can
I
somebody
think-
IMDb
I didn't
it?
see 8 Elephants.
Hold on.
I think she might have had a background role in that. I don't think she was one of the main characters.
Hold on. Yeah.
She might have been one. I think she was one of the caretakers. Like you'd see her like
Oh.
shoveling elephant poop and stuff like that. I don't think she was like
Okay.
Wow.
a major role.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm scrolling down.
I don't. Did I see that? I don't think I even
Circus Hand 3, 8 Elephants.
There you
Oh,
go.
wow.
There you go. Overalls. I remember her there. Didn't
Yeah,
look the
God,
same. Didn't look the same.
yeah. She really did. That's a good eye, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that worth watching? 8 Elephants?
I literally
No.
don't even know if I saw it. That's how bad my memory is.
It's not that memorable.
Mhm.
Not that memorable, but
But yeah, in this
Yeah.
she was great. She was absolutely.
oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she's wonderful. What did you think of him? Of our other Carl? I mean the thing we haven't really talked about it yet, but I think it's pretty obvious is the age difference between them, right? Which isn't really addressed in the movie, but why do you think that was what was going on with that?
It was the Carls, right? The Carls are making a movie. They just casted.
Yeah, they
versions
cast them
of-
themselves. Yeah. I mean, you get like when they go to that outdoor patio for dinner that one time and they're getting those looks and she's like she thinks it's because she's doesn't have any legs, but it was kind of like he's worried that it's because he's like 20 years older than her or 25 years older than her. And I think that's the only time where it's really kind of brought up, but it's not it's not like highlighted at
See,
all.
I read that scene a little differently because I think the casting decisions here were not made to take into account that age disparity. Again, Mama Ramsey, like that's her mom. Come on, that looks like
Yeah,
her
okay.
great grandmother.
Yeah.
So I think that was just how he could have easily been swapped for someone 10, 15, 20 years younger than him. They didn't really dwell on it, as you said. Like that was the only scene that made me a little uncomfortable too, because Claire's character is just a beautiful character with a wonderful soul. And even them having that small scene where you thought that was getting some kind of judgment, it was off-putting. But then we found out it was really because of the experiences some of those people in the restaurant had with Bill in some of his prior follies. That's
so
what
many
drew the
follies.
attention.
There was so many follies in that scene. I think that was the most like folly-filled scene, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. That was the culmination of all the
One
follies.
episode,
there was
the fork,
so many
the
follies.
waiter.
I know.
Yeah.
Tartar means raw. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I understand he doesn't know French, but at least ask what the word means before you order it.
The
And
gasoline.
then it just went downhill from there. I mean, that was just
Yeah, the plane crash. It was a messy scene.
That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, no. But
they just wanted things to explode in the background after all the series of unfortunate events had occurred.
yeah, they didn't really have the budget for it, but
The look on the waiter's face.
all right. I think this is a first in Talking Pictures trivia history where we have a 3-way tie.
3-way tie. I think it might be.
Three-way
it is.
tie. Yeah, $2 a piece. Okay. All right. So I have a bonus question for you. Price is Right rules.
It's time for a bonus question.
In the film's opening credit sequence, how many hippos do we see Bill slap?
It has to be different hippos, right? Can't be the same hippo twice.
I couldn't tell.
Okay. Okay.
If there was this, there was a lot of cuts, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Okay.
I didn't count distinct hippos, if that's what.
So we're counting slaps.
Yeah, that's fair. So
Well, what if he slapped the same hippo twice?
then it counts as two. That's a good point.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I was going to ask. There is something he's referring to. You remember the one where he hits it and then hits it again with the back swing, the back end on the other side of its face. Yeah.
The backhands. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's
I think
that
that's
would count.
I
That's
think
counted
that's
as
4.
two.
No, that was 4. He got each cheek. Boom, 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 boom.
It's how many slaps hit a hippo. That's what we're trying to count.
Locked in.
I think I just have to change my number on like an exponential basis here now. I don't know.
Okay, so it's
Okay, so I think we're waiting on Nick, or did you lock in Nick? Sorry.
I'm doing some complex
Fair enough.
mathematical computations here.
Take your time.
all right. I locked in.
This is some serious hippo math for all you guys at home.
Okay. I'm ready to go. Locked in.
All right, Nick, you're up first.
Okay. If memory serves me correct, there were 5 hippos lined up. The 2 end ones were, dare I say, rear shots, and the other were facing us. Okay. So he went down. There was a double smack on the first one, the face on the second, the face on the third, the face on the fourth, and a double smack on the back one, which would bring us to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. However, he then went back, face 8, 9, 10, and then a double at the end, 12. It was 12 slaps.
Okay, James, I think you locked in second.
Yeah. Now I was going off sound. I was trying to recite the cadence in my head. So I came up with 14. And I wasn't even visualizing the scene per se, but the slaps were so pronounced. They almost kind of went like and until I added up that cadence to 14. My best estimate.
Thank you. So we have 12, 14. KJ, what do you have?
I might be way off, but the first letters we see come up on the screen were slap sounds. I had 38 because it was like that. It was the first like 4 names that came up were all that slap sound before we realized it was hippos. I had assumed.
That's a dirty question. Are you counting?
He said we saw the slaps. No, we had to see the slap.
Yeah.
You said see the slap.
Oh, I did
You
say
did.
see the slap. Yeah.
All right then. I think we're kind of split on 2 potential
Oh.
answers here because KJ is right. He is slapping hippos before the opening credits
But
are
we
done.
don't see it.
Oh Lord, that's a good one because I also had that number that you just said. Yeah, I had that number because I was like, oh yeah. When we see Bill's Folly, it's slap, 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 slap. Yeah.
And the opposite, 38.
This Tom's Folly? I don't know.
This might be Tom's Folly. Oh, oh damn! I was gonna give it to KJ, but I that's a good point. I did say C. All right. Oh crap. All right. Let's maybe do one more bonus question.
It's time for a bonus question.
In the post-credit sequence, what do Claire and Bill in a romantic date milk?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Okay, KJ, you're going first.
I did not sit through the credits, so this is a wild guess. I don't know, a goat?
Look to me like an alpaca.
So this is a tricky one because this must have been some kind of petting zoo. There were a lot of animals there, but I thought it was a weird reference. There was a cat, and they were trying to milk the cat. I don't know. At least that's what it looked like to me. So I'm gonna go with cat.
Okay, and the points go to James. They try to milk the cat, but they successfully milk the alpaca. That's the thing. They're like chasing the cat around, and the cat keeps scratching them. And so they go, like, screw it. Let's just milk this thing. And it's just like, "Rrr,"
Yeah,
and
I
they-
think
yeah,
that's definitely why it was in my head, because it
yeah,
was just an odd situation.
yeah.
Did they play it as a hallucination, or was it? I mean, she wasn't in any of his other hallucinations,
Yeah,
but
that's I mean, it's the two of them together, and it's like they're playing like romantic music. Like this is, this is their I think this is supposed to be like their first date, right? Because it ends with them deciding to finally go out. And so I think this is kind of like, if you sit through the credits, this is kind of like their first date. They were trying to, milk various animals. Because as, Claire said, like she always dreamed of, working on a farm or growing up on a farm because she had grown up in kind of like a bad neighborhood. And, thought the best part of growing up on a farm was, milking all the animals, to have some fresh milk from all the animals. So I think that was his like, you know, romantic gesture was, going off to milk the alpacas. Um,
and is that what that quote meant? The life between the heartbeats and the minds, or whatever.
yeah, I think that, what he was going for in the quote, or I guess what Perez was going for in that quote, is that relates back to the follies, that the folly is the thing that makes life exciting, that you bring the folly, the excitement to in an event via the folly. That's kind of Bill's way of injecting excitement into a situation, even when he doesn't intend to. And so I think it sort of connects to that this sort of proliferation of follies everywhere.
But don't you think the way they set up the ending was that now he has this other thing that can bring excitement to him, so that the follies may be in the past now? And that's why I thought that end credit scene was a little off, because he seemed to still be having different follies, okay, in this petting zoo or whatever. So like, I don't know, maybe they left the door open to say that, oh, maybe it's still happening, but not as much. I don't know.
He's still a silly guy. He's still him, but she's had a positive influence on his life. Like he's not like tanking the Vietnamese economy. Like he did like 40 minutes into the movie.
Only Bill.
Yeah,
Only
yeah.
Bill.
Only Bill.
Mhm.
Only Bill. And it's like two keystrokes, and the whole
We
thing
can't
is
even
just,
blame Polo
Yeah.
for that one. I mean, that was just straight up Bill.
no, that
him.
was all
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a good point. Like he's doing all these destructive things to the Vietnamese, and in the end, it's like, it's like a good thing, and nobody dies. A crane doesn't fall on anybody. Nobody gets crushed in a porta potty. Like the third world is not being destroyed by Bill's follies, and so I think it's like the follies are I think the irony of the quote is that the follies are exciting but destructive, and we end on something exciting that's not destructive.
Well, that's what I was alluding to earlier. The more Claire came into the picture, the less volatile or detrimental his follies became. That's what I meant. Not necessarily the frequency, but maybe the impact.
Yeah, like the blowing up the housing development was bad, but nobody got killed, like in the you know in the scene with the
Or
crane,
Fletch.
or yeah, or in the scene when like the plane explodes.
It's time for Movie Rant.
I was wondering what you guys thought of some of the relationships. I mean, the big one is the growing love between Claire and Bill, which happened in a kind of bizarre way. I mean, starting with the hamster guinea pig things, and then the second event, which was really strange, and also the relationship between, which we haven't really talked about that much, Claire and Mama Ramsey. Um, and then, of course, Claire's father. I was wondering what people thought of those, specifically those three relationships, but any others you want to bring up.
Yeah, I mean Claire and Mama Ramsey was kind of a typical mother-daughter where she's always trying to clean up after her mom. There was a suggestion that her mom was starting to lose it. Um, I thought that was fine, run of the mill, nothing too crazy. But I, Polo's relationship with Bill, right? I mean, we talked about that quite a bit, but
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
was a lot of fun for what it was.
mhm.
For what it was. It was destructive, but it was fun.
All the antics,
Mhm.
craziness.
I mean, did you expect her father to be an astronaut?
Yeah, but he was always away. He was like never in the film, and then he'd show up dressed like an astronaut to like prove he's an astronaut. Like we get it,
Mm.
you know. It was very random to me.
I guess her skydiving was supposed to be, I don't know, an allusion to that,
Mhm.
or them, showing her attempting to follow in his footsteps, and of course, then,
Poor
she's
choice of words,
injured like
James.
that.
Poor choice of
Yeah.
words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then the devastation of the injury. So I think they probably could have explored that dynamic of her relationship with her father, Lieutenant Ramsey, a little bit more. As far as her relationship with Bill, yeah, I enjoyed the pacing of it. The problem is, I guess his folly in screwing up her parachute,
Mhm.
right? After she's been, afraid of that, and for good reason, and then, yeah, all right, she crash lands in the lake, and, she's in the water, so it's fine. You know, I don't think they really do a good enough job getting into how he's able to kind of redeem himself
Mhm.
and get back in her good graces, because not a lot of his follies directly affected her, but that one did.
See, the
Yeah.
reason I kept watching this movie through the hallucinations, through all of the follies, was because Claire. Claire was the anchor, not only for Bill in the end, but us, the audience. She's the reason. And only someone like Claire could forgive him for some kind of atrocity like mishandling a parachute. I mean, crazy, but she is that good of a person that she lets that go.
The hallucination where he was a tree, was that an astronaut in the background supposed to be Lieutenant Ramsey?
Oh, I don't know. We don't see his face, right? We just see like the
He's in the
the
full
helmet.
suit. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
got the helmet on.
Yeah, yeah. Huh, I mean, that's interesting because do we know at that point that her father's an astronaut?
I this was one of the earlier
I don't
ones.
think
I
we
don't think it was
do.
Yeah.
I don't think
introduced.
we do.
Maybe it's
Yeah,
kind of like a foreshadowing thing.
Like he's rooted in the ground and
I bet you there's
his
some more
dad.
of that
Yeah.
on the cutting room floor because I think that is an
Yeah.
underdeveloped plot line or subplot that they
Yeah.
just,
Maybe he was supposed to be in it more.
yeah, it's possible.
Mhm. Yeah. Because it is interesting. Like the astronaut chops the tree down.
Right, 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 right. It
Mhm.
it shows how Bill makes these mistakes, but other people also affect him. I mean, Polo's the biggest example, but he's again very influenced. Even as a tree, they were
Mhm.
able to modify what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I think the relationship. So my takeaway from the relationships are that relationships are what happens when the follies don't, and so that the relationships are um, what the follies take the place of, or can take the place of the follies. And so what we're seeing is a person who has like a dearth of meaningful relationships. His relationships with Polo and with the rest of them are are very superficial, and it's as they deteriorate and the relationship with Claire begins to be realized that sort of takes that place. It sort of takes the place of the follies.
I'd like to once again congratulate our winner of the week, James, in double bonus question time. So, congratulations, James.
Yay!
Yahoo!
Woohoo! On another note, check out our website, talkingpicturestrivia.com, for more information about us and our episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel. We are extremely grateful for any positive reviews, as those help others like you find us. If you like what you hear, remember to like and subscribe to our show. Which do you think was Bill's greatest folly and why? Let's continue the conversation on Twitter at Talking Studios. Thanks again, James, for joining us today.
my pleasure.
You could find me on Twitter at ThomasLehman15.
And you can find me on Twitter at KJ10001000.
I can also be found on Twitter at The Nicknamed. Join us next time when we discuss KJ's recommendation from 1995, The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill But Came Down a Mountain. Should be a fun one. Talk to you then. Ding, 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 ding.